Councilman Gann.
Here.
Councilman McBride. Councilman Harrell.
Here.
Councilman Stamey. Councilman Hatmaker.
Here.
Councilman Fair.
Here.
Mayor Burton.
Here. Do I hear a motion for the approval of the agenda?
So moved. Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. This afternoon, I've asked Vice Mayor Fair to give the prayer, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. Before the prayer, let's remember to keep our prayers, think about E.T. Stamey and his recovery from a stroke he had last week. So.
Let's pray. Dear Heavenly Father, we lift up our friend E.T. Stamey to your care. Be with him and comfort him. Be with those physicians and healthcare professionals that tend to his needs. Lord, in all things, we ask for your will to be done in his life as well as our own. Be with his friends and his family and provide him the strength and courage in this difficult time as he tries to rehabilitate and come back to full health. Lord, bless this proceeding here and that we may do thy will and seek thy wisdom. Pray for our city. Lord, thank you for your Son, our Savior, Jesus Christ, as we draw near towards Christmas. Be with our community and those that we love and those that are in need of this time. All this I ask in Jesus' holy name. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thanks, Zach. Do I hear a motion for the review and approval of minutes of the previous meeting dated November 22nd, 2021?
So moved. Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. At this time, we'll recognize any visitors or citizens with any concerns or anything good to say? Anybody? Communications from the mayor. I thought I had two things, but I can't think of the second one. If I have one, I can talk about it. But the only thing I'm going to do as far as boards and commissions today, KK Webster, which is now KK Meredith, she has moved out of her ward, so she's going to have to surrender her post on school board. So the recommendation from school board, which we normally take, they would like for us, recommend for us to place Lorianne Wilson in place of KK for the term ending November 30th, 2022. Hear a motion for approval?
So moved.
Second.
Motion is second. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. And that's all I have. Community report, school board report. Kelly?
I just have one quick announcement to make. The school board unanimously approved for us to move forward on the South Clinton Elementary School addition. What that will involve is 4 additional classrooms, 2 additional intervention rooms, which are smaller classrooms. We are going to do some upgrades to the gym. Currently, they have 30-plus-year-old vinyl tile on the floor as their gym floor. So they'll actually be getting a real live gym floor. And we will be sealing the removable wall between the multipurpose room or the gym and the cafeteria. We're going to concrete that in and make an official wall. And then while we're under construction, we're going to go ahead and replace the flooring in the cafeteria and in the 2 main hallways. And so Wright's Contracting was the company who won the RFP for that. And we are in process of signing that contract as we speak, and construction should begin very, very soon with the anticipation that the construction project is done before the beginning of the school year in August. So just wanted to let you know that that is forth and coming. Scott Ray will be overseeing that project for us. And other than that, I just wish everybody a Merry Christmas. Any questions for me?
Any questions for Kelly? Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. I will say, if anything is going to get E.T. Stamey better quickly, it is knowing that I am now in charge of athletics at Clinton City Schools. And that should make him nervous enough to get better.
Come on. You got a budget number 3? That was on there. Is that from last time? Okay. No, you're good. You're good. Thank you.
Please no.
Thank you. Yeah. Clinton Regional Planning Commission report, Councilman Gann.
The Board of Zoning and Appeals and also the Regional Planning Commission met on December the 13th. The Board of Zoning and Appeals applicant McCarty Holsapple McCarty requesting rear setback variance to 45 feet minimum parking requirement from 56 spaces to 53 spaces for property located at 242 Highway Drive. This is South Clinton Elementary School, and that was passed. And then it was also the first item on the agenda for the Clinton Regional Planning Commission, which was the site plan review, which is for 2 additions to the South Clinton Elementary School, as Ms. Johnson has just outlined, and that also was approved by the Planning Commission. Applicant Vertical Bridge Development LLC requesting site plan review for property located at 1310 Eagle Bend Road. This is a cell phone tower, and among other things, discussion about, we do not really have any specific guidelines about cell phone towers, and there are some questions there. So I think Mayor Burton was the one that suggested we might need to get some guidelines about cell phone towers, but it was passed as it was, but you can probably see something coming about that in the future. Applicant Rgca requesting site plan review for property located at 2218 North Charles G. Seavers Boulevard. This is on the other side of the Sonic, which is under construction at the present time, part of the Glen Alpine area. I'm sure they weren't really ready to divulge much of the ideas about what was going there, but we did find out it is a multiple occupant facility, and looks to be quite large. And the plan was reviewed and approved by the Planning Commission. Applicant Seth Schweitzer requesting preliminary site plan review for property located at Hillvale Road. This is for a self-storage facility over the top of the ridge, so to speak, from Walmart. And it met all the guidelines, and again, we don't have a whole lot of guidelines about self-storage facilities. So that may be something we're looking at more in the future, but that was approved. Then applicant American Legion requesting site plan review for property located at Spring Street. This is a replacement of the old American Legion building. They've been using a double-wide trailer. Those of you who are long-term residents probably are aware there's still an old log cabin, and I think there are plans to perhaps demolish that old log cabin, which has been in place for a number of years, that was their original meeting place. But that also was approved. Also, review and recommendation of historic zoning district expansion, and this was decided that the Planning Commission will be meeting and discussing this in the January meeting, and that a joint meeting for discussion of the B1 district, that would probably be better to discuss this at that particular time, so it is included in that agenda. And then a review of the overall zoning ordinance to determine any duplication of responsibilities for the boards, which would be the Planning Commission and the Historical Commission, Historical Planning Commission. And it was decided that at this particular time, we'll maintain the Historical Planning Commission, Historical District. Any questions?
Any questions for Councilman Gann?
Yeah, just a couple questions, Councilman. What was the discussion around the duplication of Historic and Planning Commission? Could you flesh that out a little bit more for me, please?
Primarily, I think it was are we doing the same things? What all is involved in the planning? Who is going to be responsible for what? There were a number of things. I think Mr. Houck has gotten a guideline here of what their expectations are. But I think there was just a lot of discussions, is this needed? And it was determined that, yes, we do need to continue it.
Well, I agree with the vote. I think Historic plays a distinct role. I think those roles and responsibilities, the duties and obligations that this committee is entrusted with are those that are of a specialized nature that, I mean, certainly, Planning Commission, I'm sure, could do that, but I think for good reasons, that was delegated to a specialized committee, being historic. The analogy that it comes to my mind is, you know, there's lots of things that this council could probably do, but we have delegated some of that authority to other bodies. Thus, we've created boards and committees. And while I think that we need to do a search and look and see what committees we do have that are redundant or that are, they don't meet, you know, I think as an individual councilman, I strongly support the use of a historic committee. I think it's beneficial with our Main Street program and other functions. I think that if there's work to be done, I agree that I think there's needs to be some communication between the various groups, whether it be staff and historic and planning, so on and so forth. And I think that maybe in the coming year, we can improve on some of those issues. So the other, I think too, for what it's worth, it would be worthwhile, in my opinion, to expand historic to include the Magnet Mills property. I think the ability to control the future of that in a way that we can, as much as we can, within the four corners of the law for sure. But being able to influence the development there, my fear is, you know, not that I'm anti-Dollar General, but what took place there on the Boulevard, I think if we have more of a control, especially with our historic guidelines, I think that would be beneficial. Recognizing that these feelings or these opinions aren't shared by everyone. However, I want it to be clear that this councilman is in support of that. Thank you.
Anyone else? Just a couple of points on what was said about historic. I think moving forward, and if it's the will of the council to keep historic, I think their roles need to be clearly defined. And I'll just be honest with you, I think my frustration has been, again, this is just my opinion, historic has really gone off the tracks as far as what the responsibilities are. You know, for us to control and moving forward to talking about the Magnet Mills property, maybe my impression is wrong, but my impression is the responsibility of historic zoning is the exterior of historic buildings. There's nothing historic on Magnet Mills. Their role is not to control anything. It's to look at the exterior part of the building. So that might be more discussions to have in the future, but I just totally disagree where they want to go and where they should be. And I think we need to have some further discussions down the road on that. Anyone else?
I think that will be part of the discussion as far as the B1 district at the January meeting.
When is that workshop plan? Council?
It's the regular meeting,
That's after the regular meeting.
after the regular meeting, but it's the same date as the regular meeting.
You know, it may be beneficial, and we've talked to MTS staff, and I know Gail says they'll come out and do it. It may be beneficial if we ask for our MTS municipal consultant, if she could maybe come to that meeting and at least help maybe explain that role as a third party that doesn't have anything, any particular interest either way. I don't know if that's short of notice if we could get her here or not, but we could attempt to ask first of the week and see if she's available. That'd be the second
That's
Monday.
what-
Second Monday, yeah.
Angie's background is in municipal planning. She worked for Johnson City before she became a city manager in Middle Tennessee. Now, of course, she's with MTS, municipal consultant. So she may be able to, since planning and historic zoning commission both will be at that meeting, it may be a good meeting she could attend. And possibly even some of the councilmen, if they'd like to sit in the audience and listen, if we could get her there.
That's January 10th.
January 10th.
And that's the meeting to decide if they expand the scope.
Well, I think it's a workshop they're
It's a
having.
workshop, yeah.
So it may not be decided that
Yeah,
meeting.
it'd be
Well,
a good
that-
opportunity for her just to come, and they could ask her questions too, so.
That question will eventually be council's decision, planning commission, we'll make a recommendation to the council.
My
Council.
concern about Magnet Mills, it's been so hard to get anything done there. I wouldn't want to add a layer of complication if that's what expanding the role would do. I don't know if it will or not. I'll have to look at the specifics and see. But we want that developed, and we don't want to make it more difficult.
I had a real good time, being on planning commission. You know, the old saying when I first, Larry and I first got on council is the saying was, if you don't want to be reelected, don't go on planning commission. But I don't think that's true. But they do a lot, and it's very interesting being in that point. One thing that I've kind of gathered just on that very short period on planning commission and being more just being more focused on that, I do believe that it'd be beneficial at some point to get someone on planning commission that has more of a developer mindset, a builder, you know, someone that's familiar with, you know, working the land, what the ins and outs are, because we really don't have that on our board. I think in the future it'd be very nice to have that. And also I'd like to look at even the historic to bring some new people in there too and just give different perspective and different backgrounds. So that's something we can talk about here in the next months to come, so.
Just a quick comment on what Rob's concerned. Historic is in our code here, powers and duties, and they review projects to ensure that they meet historic guidelines, and they have the power to set those guidelines. And I believe there's some updated guidelines that are being considered and going to be voted on. I think the purpose is not to make things more difficult. I think the purpose is to ensure that developments meet with what our vision is. We had in conjunction with the Chamber of Commerce, we had a gentleman that laid out a Clinton vision with input from members on this board here, or on this council. While it's not controlling, or it's a suggestion, it's a vision. It's not the vision, and it's certainly not has some sort of legal authority that we are bound by. However, when you're doing city planning and you're thinking about, you want to be intentional, and you want to make sure that the developments that go in meet with your vision for what your city is. If you've been to Hilton Head and you're familiar with Hilton Head, it's that way for a reason. Because if you're going to build in Hilton Head, you got to subscribe to the vision that their city planners and their city leaders laid out years and years and years ago. Same thing could be said for Savannah, Georgia, Beaufort, South Carolina, and others. I just use that as an example. I certainly agree with you. You don't want to make things more onerous or more difficult for individuals that are trying to better our community. I think what you do want to ensure is that they are bettering our community. That's all I would say.
Anything else?
No, that's
Good discussion. You want to do anything, CB, good?
No.
Okay.
CUB, no report.
Wishes everybody a Merry Christmas.
Yeah, CUB wishes everybody a Merry Christmas. One thing I will say, when we had that storm on Saturday, we had a few people that were out of power shortly, but it paled in comparison to the thousands that KUB had. And, you know, that's what the gentlemen over there at CUB and the ladies, they do a great job of keeping power on, to the point where we didn't even notice it. It was, that's
Good.
it.
Now,
Yeah.
I noticed work done on the top of Market Street. Was that a break or?
It was.
Water,
Roger,
sewer.
Yeah.
Water main break Wednesday? Wednesday, yeah, it was right below the one we had last year. Once again, it's just the 100-year infrastructure
Yeah.
that through our TAP grant that will be beginning here in another 8 months. We'll be replacing all of that, I'm sure.
Yeah, we'll dig it all up and it'll be all good.
Be all
Thanks,
good.
the CrossFit fit for using the sandbags.
Yeah, there you go.
Larry, do you have any other
No.
board or committee reports?
No,
Catherine's
thank you.
not here today, is she?
Nope.
Sorry, I forgot to turn my phone off.
That
It's
may be
fine. That might be
Catherine.
Catherine right there.
Yeah, call him.
No, it's not. Mr. Houck?
Thank you, Mayor. A couple things that's not on my report to bring you an update on that's happened here in the last week or two. Harbor Drive project, we finally got all the signatures the last 2 weeks ago. We had a meeting with all the parties involved with that, our engineers, Pal Clinch, CUB, So we'll get ready to get that project underway. First thing, CUB will be putting some water lines in for fire hydrants. So we'll probably first of the year be getting started on that project. Public Works will be doing some preliminary work on widening the roads. Then we'll get Rogers Group in here. We're putting a 22-foot road in. So we'll have 5 fire hydrants, wider roads, street lights. 35-year-old problem finally fixed, so we get all that taken care of. So that's kind of an update on that lengthy project. Traffic calming devices, we've installed 2 traffic calming devices, one on Riverside, one on Eagle Bend. We've got a couple more that we'll be putting in after first of the year. These are temporary speed tables, or I say temporary, they're not permanent. They can be permanent, but they're actually just screwed down. So we put them in, per our traffic engineer did a study, kind of told us where would be the best place to put them. So we've kind of put them in. We'll go monitor them for 6-8 months, see how they work, see what they do to traffic. If it's something we decide we want to put in permanent, we'll probably ask council to develop some kind of plan. City of Farragut has a plan where if someone from another street or subdivision would call and say, hey, you've got them on Riverside, we'd like to have one in Mariner Point, then there'd be a mechanism that we would ask that neighborhood to go through to make sure everybody, or at least a majority in that neighborhood wanted them. So we'll adopt some kind of policy if it determines that's something that we want to keep and do.
Farragut does 70%, right?
It's around 70%, I think, yeah.
So let's say if you did, I was thinking Eagle Bend, but Westwood might be an easier example. Like,
Yes.
somebody says, hey, we want to do one in Westwood, would you go ahead and just put one up just for a little while, just see what everybody thinks about it, then come back and get feedback?
Possibly.
That probably might be the
They're a
best
little harder
route.
to put in what we thought. It took Public Works 2 days to put the one on Eagle Bend, pretty much.
Yes.
So they're not as easy to put in as what we anticipate. I think.
And you want to keep it on the flat area, you wouldn't,
Yeah,
no
pretty
hills
much
or
it needs
anything
to
like
be.
that.
And we've asked the traffic engineer to come out from a safety point to review the site before
Yeah.
we just don't go stick them somewhere without the traffic engineer.
I've gotten some feedback on that, as most mayors do get most of the phone calls. And I'm not being smart when I say this, but right now it's very few people, but it seems like the people younger than me hate them, and the people older than me love them.
Oh, yeah.
So
Well,
we'll see if that trend continues.
The biggest complaint we've got, or I've got, was where we put the signs actually for the approach to them.
Yeah.
So we've adjusted that a little bit, but,
I discovered it.
Will that be the permanent piece, or like when you decide to go permanent, will we have a different structure?
possibly, it's something me and Dwayne's talked about a little bit. It may be easier to actually construct something out of asphalt than use these after we've tried them.
Yeah, that's what you
So-
see a lot in Knox Swamp area.
So it's kind of a test for us. Okay,
Good.
thank you. Talking about commission, or our general government, talking about our city boards. In accordance with city council's directives last month, we have continued to review various boards and commissions that serve the city. At this time, we would recommend that the following boards be abolished: our Community Relation Board and our Elderly Citizen Advisory Board. Based on our research, we cannot find any record of these bodies meeting for the last 20 to 25 years. We will continue to research at this time and bring back further recommendations as we warrant.
So are these the boards that pretty much you had a grant and had to develop, had to create
We
it?
really can't find out.
What were they called again? Community
It's the
relations and what?
Community
And
Elderly
Relations
Citizens
and
Advisory.
Elderly Citizen Advisory.
Elderly citizen advisory.
Like I said, we've looked back through records for 20, 25 years, but I don't, in my 35 years here, don't ever remember.
Maybe developing of a senior center or something, you got that.
Is it, I mean, yeah, and I want to ask you.
Are you looking at other boards too?
Yeah,
So
and we
this is
just-
just an ongoing
Yeah.
kind
Is
of-
this,
First two.
is this an ordinance where we
No.
have just one vote on
Yeah.
that? Okay.
I make a motion, we
Second.
abolish.
Second.
Motion is second. Any further discussion? Larry, you want to tell Charlie, thank him for his service. He's coming off that board.
I'm sure he'll cry.
Yeah, I'm sure he'll complain about it, I'm sure. Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
Sales tax, I'll defer to Gail. Finance.
You've got your finance report. There's not much new to report. Our revenues and expenditures are still really looking good this year. I'll make note that these reports do not include the sales tax or your state share. It's too early in the month for us to include those in the report. So That's another several hundred thousand there. The only other thing really going on right now, of course, we're finishing up the audit, and we have met with the department heads on the ARPA funds, and we're working to figure out some spend plans for that we can submit in January to the state to see what they think about those plans.
Any questions for Gail? Thanks, Gail.
Gail. In the police department, we have removed the following vehicle from service, and we recommend that it be declared surplus and placed on GovDeals website. It's a 1999 Jeep Cherokee.
Motion to approve?
Second.
Motion is second. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Any questions for Roger?
Roger, I've had a few questions about the bridge. Can you give us an update on, like, I hear a lot of questions, when will the old bridge be tore down?
It is in the process.
Well, I know,
Yeah.
but is there a timeline on that, or?
I think the last they told us, probably early spring, they should be done with the demolition. And then, of course, once they get the demolition done, they'll start on rebuilding Riverside. And they did give us an updated plan about a month ago of what that would look like, and it's pretty suitable to us. It'll actually shift, the Riverside will shift over to where the old bridge is, and it'll be some parking, and then they'll reattach the walking trail. It will not go down in the inlet anymore like it used to, the walking trail, but it'll be up top and then reconnect. Actually, where the trail was in the inlet, there's a huge pier that sits right in the middle of it now, so it's kind of feasible. It won't, but it'll reattach everything and add parking back there. Only thing that we're a little concerned, the boat ramp will go back too, but there's not gonna be very good parking for pickup trucks and boat trailers, so we're trying to figure out maybe some way to add, maybe in the bow area, maybe add some of our own, that we could put some there.
Thank you.
Anybody else?
Do we have an update on Magnet Mills? I know we kind of set a December 15th guideline.
Right now, they've been working, they got a grade permit for a site off Yarnell Road behind one of the industries. They've been hauling dirt in from there, filling it in. Jason's been going over about every day, keeping an eye on them. The couple concerns have came up. We have a conference meeting call set up with our attorney for Monday afternoon. We sent him a report with pictures and a report yesterday. So we will review everything with him Monday afternoon and just kind of at this point make sure they're working. Our thought process is if they quit at any time, we'll not, won't bring anything back to you all. Pretty much be ready to try to move in. Like I said, we've got a few liability concerns that have come up that we want to pass through our attorney to make sure we're good on. But they have moved some other equipment in, some better equipment, track hoe, so they're.
Hard to believe the budget year's half over. Time flies, huh? Thanks, Roger. No ordinances or resolutions. Any old business before us? Any new business? We want to wish everyone a Merry Christmas and a much better 2022. Motion to adjourn.
So moved.